Hey guys, JS here, and new nerfs coming to Battlecry Shaman. We're having a lot of big nerfs that are going to hit it, but is Battlecry Shaman completely gone? Maybe, maybe not. Let's find out. So, Battlecry Shaman is getting a bunch of nerfs with four major cards in the Galakron Shaman deck. So let's start with Sludge Slurper. Sludge Slurper is going to be go from a 1 cost 2/1 to a 1 cost 1/1. So this will, in fact, I think, hurt the card in the early game. Keep having that extra 1 attack was very useful for when you were trying to deal that extra damage to your opponent and try to help remove the board. But in the later game, the extra 1 attack isn't going to really affect it too much. You mainly play this card for the Lackey and the Battlecry, and in fact, it's just a good card to play. So this card will still see a lot of play in Hearthstone, but I think it is going to affect it a little bit, but not as much as some people might think. Next is Corrupt Elementalist. Corrupt Elementalist was a 5 cost 3/3. That is now a 6 cost 3/3. We knew this was coming. This one is one of the most obvious cards that was a little overpowered in Battlecry Shaman. I think we all knew that it was going to go from 5 to 6. I think if it had gone to 7, it would have been a little too much for the card. But it is still a very good card. It's still going to help push for the board. Just getting those extra 2/1s is what makes this card really strong. Faces Corruptor is going from a 5 cost 5/4 to a 5 cost 4/4. Now, this doesn't just affect Battlecry Shaman, though Battlecry Shaman is probably the most known for using it. So, seeing this card go isn't that surprising, actually. But it's going from a 5/4 to a 4/4. How will this actually affect the card? I actually think this is going to affect it a good amount. Going from a 5 cost 5/4 to a 5 cost 4/4, the extra 1 attack was actually very crucial in killing cards with 5 health. Cards like Big Ol' Whelp and other cards like that. This card really, it can't kill those now. So I do think in certain decks this is going to affect it a lot. In actual Battlecry Shaman, I don't think it's going to change it that much at all. And then finally, Milgu Flesh Shaper is going from a 7 cost 3/4 to a 9 cost 3/4. This actually does really change the card a lot because it will stop people from getting to play this card on like turn 3 or 4. That being said, if you do get to play this card on like turn 4 or 5 and you evolve it, I feel like the damage that this card could do is actually a lot more catastrophic. There are some bad 10 drops, but there are a lot of crazy 10 drops. And so I'm just thinking, compared to the amount of game defining 10 drops you can get, compared to the game defining 8 drops you can get, it does concern me a little bit with evolving this card. So my thought is, if you play this card and then you evolve it, and you get the 10 cost Divine Shield Reborn minion, legendary minion, that is going to affect you know what I'm saying? Like, that is a almost, if you get down to 4 or 5, that is potentially game breaking. So my whole point in this right now is just saying that Milgu Flesh Shaper looks like it's good that the nerf came, but it is potentially worse. So, looking at all these 4 cards, what do I think about Battlecry Shaman? I think that these nerfs are actually very minor compared to what some people were expecting. We were expecting, I think, some big hit nerfs. I think some people thought that maybe Faces Corruptor would go from a 5 cost 4/4 to a 6 cost 4/4. Or maybe, I didn't expect Sludge Slurper to get hit, but maybe Mogul Flesh Shaper to 10 mana. Something like that is what I think more people were expecting. More harsher strictness on it. And when I see Battlecry Shaman, it makes me think of Q Block. If you were in the era of Kobolds and Catacombs, you know of Q Block. Q Block was very similar to Battlecry Shaman. Everyone was playing it. It was one of the strongest decks in the game. Even Jade Druid was having a hard time beating this deck. It was probably the only deck that could contest against it. And if you guys knew Jade Druid, we're not even going to get into that. But Q Block was a crazy deck, really strong, pushing through the meta, one of the strongest decks in the game. But then Blizzard came and they nerfed it. And when they nerfed it, they actually did something very interesting. They didn't just nerf it, they literally abolished it. After these nerfs that went into effect, most of the deck was not that good anymore. You could play it pretty well. You could. It would get you to maybe rank 5. But then you would have a hard time after that because they made cards that give you such good benefits away. They gave cards that were essentially really strong and had good mana combos, then weren't because they were too much to do that. So they literally abolished it. And here I think they're trying to be a little more careful in the fact that they don't want to get rid of Battlecry Shaman because they spent 2 expansions kind of evolving around it, starting with Savers of Oldum and now Descent of Dragons, with the quest and now Galakron. So they don't want to just get rid of it and make it irrelevant and then make Shaman bad, but they are carefully testing the waters, trying to make it a little more even. So I do think that these nerfs are good, and I'm glad that Blizzard is pacing themselves. I'm glad they did the nerfs quick, but I'm glad they aren't crazy overreactions to the game. So glad to see these nerfs, glad to see them happening. I think it might help people ease off of the Battlecry Shaman, because Galakron Shaman is just crazy right now. Not just in power level, but in the amount of people playing it. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!